Salute, Knicks Nation. Let's talk about this game. As the New York Knicks lose the second of a back-to-back in Cleveland, 105 to 124. Cleveland dominant. From the third quarter onwards, the New York Knicks put up a great fight in the first half. There's some good things to take from this game, but there's a whole lot of bad we're going to talk about from this game as well. Disappointing finish. The game got away from the New York Knicks in many, many ways. Cleveland got hot from three, and the Knicks just couldn't guard the three, right? The Knicks have to find a way to guard the three, and these teams, if they're going to have success against these elite teams offensively that can get hot from three, right? That's the gravity that they pull. And the New York Knicks defensively, with no Mitch tonight, Karl-Anthony Towns, man, one of his worst performances defensively on the season, though. But the referees were awful tonight on both sides, putting Cat and OG Anunoby in foul trouble. And that was when the game swung. You know, OG picked up his fourth foul quite early in the ball game, early in the third. Karl-Anthony Towns was battling foul trouble as well. And the New York Knicks had to sit the guys that were hot at the wrong time. You know, OG Anunoby was absolutely blistering hot in the first half as the New York Knicks, I believe, had a lead at the half, 7-point lead at the half. Cleveland did close the gap a little bit, and the Knicks, you know, when OG had to sit, right, he was the one that was generating the offense, right? Mikal Bridges tonight only put up 6 shot attempts to Josh Hart's 19. They were sagging off of Josh Hart, and he was making a few threes, but it wasn't enough, man. And, you know, like I said, it was an excellent first half defensively, but the New York Knicks couldn't hang in the second half. And the Cavs, credit to them, they made adjustments to play harder on the perimeter and give the Knicks nothing, right? The ball was moving well, but it's moments like this against teams like this that you need a bona fide star to run the offense and get you a bucket, right? OG Anunoby, the foul trouble was heavily disruptive. But yeah, for the New York Knicks to be up 7 at the half, it was a really, really ugly second half, right? For us to lose by almost 20 and I have a 7-point lead at the half. I mean, that is a massive, massive swing. And defensively, the guys were lacking, right? The drop coverage from Tibbs deployed with Karl-Anthony Towns as the center man, right? It was dreadful, exactly like Lily Phillips said. But what do you do? What do you take from this game in terms of the first half, right? Because you can't ignore the first half. They always say it's not how you start, though, it's how you finish. But it was by far the best half that the Knicks have played against an elite team, right? For 2 quarters, the New York Knicks were the better team, right? They were battling really bad officiating, and contact was called, minuscule contact was called against the Knicks, and heavy contact from the Cavs on the Knicks wasn't called. Donovan Mitchell, they were overplaying us all night, and the Knicks just couldn't get the backdoor cuts going. That's what you got to do when the opponent is overplaying you. We were just throwing the ball out of bounds, turning it over. You know, we really, really were missing Jalen Brunson in this one. And for a minute there, I'm thinking, yeah, DeLon Wright, he's the guy that's going to get playoff minutes. Not going to pin the swing on him because he was phenomenal in the first half. But when they did sag off and they left a couple of guys open that they wanted us to shoot, like Hart, Wright, those guys just couldn't make them pay. And they were overplaying on Bridges. They were overplaying on OG. And Cat, they were letting him drive into traffic and just no bueno. And Hart, together with Wright, just couldn't make them pay. Landry Shamet, disappointing night as well. Now, we've got to put things in perspective. This is the third game in 4 nights. So 3 and 4 nights. It is what it is. You know, we're not on Cleveland's level without full strength. And I caveat by saying that because with Mitchell Robinson, with Jalen Brunson, with Deuce McBride, with Cameron Payne. Cleveland were full strength tonight. They had Hunter, they had their backcourt, they had their front court, and we're missing basically 4 guys from our rotation. There's some encouragement. There is some encouragement you take from that first half. OG was absolutely in his bag. But at what point, is it sustainable? Things tightened up, and like they're going to tighten up in the playoffs. And the New York Knicks just got to do a better job guarding the 3, and obviously they have to keep knocking down their threes. Now, now we have 6 to play, 7 to play, I believe, 7 or 6 to play. We're gonna look at the standings tonight. Indiana picked up a win, so they'll close the gap to 3.5 games. But the New York Knicks have the tiebreaker as well, and they will have to pull out some wins. JB looks like he's going to return on the weekend, either against ATL or against Phoenix. So help is on the way, fam. That is encouragement. Elliott, welcome in. The officiating was awful, 100%. It was one of the worst officiated games on the season, and I was so frustrated, man. I mean, at what point? What can we do now? Tibbs has complained to the NBA. The Knicks have written to the league office. We're just not getting a fair whistle, and I know it's hard for these guys to keep playing through it, but they've just got to keep their cool. They've got to stay focused right now. But let's be real. Can we beat Cleveland? Can we beat Oklahoma City without a Mitchell Robinson? Right. And that remains to be seen, with Karl Anthony Towns, Precious Achiuwa, especially against Cleveland with their bigs. Lily Phillips says definitely suspect officiating, and the refs just ran out of gas. Always have a disadvantage in the rest against this team, including next Friday's game as well. Shake my head. Playoffs are going to be different, definitely, and I think we can take some encouragement from the first half tonight. And in the playoffs, you're not going to do back-to-backs, but it is going to be physical, and we just have to be smart, man. Sometimes I feel like this team obviously has its shortcomings skill set-wise, but sometimes I feel like we just don't play smart, man. We throw the ball away. We pass up on the easy pass for the Hollywood pass, and the amount of turnovers tonight just killed us in that third quarter. I love Josh Hart. And I love Cat. When they're on, man. But when they're not, man, those guys are just turnover machines, man. They lose their head. They love pinging the ball around like it's, playground ball. But yeah, that third quarter, man, turnovers killed us. 14 turnovers for the game. We finished just 30% from downtown, but we limited Cleveland to 32%. They won points in the paint by 12. We won the second chance points, which is interesting. And the fast break points were split. Right, the Knicks got a few steals tonight, 7 steals. But yeah, absolutely killed on the glass by 11. We missed Mitch. We missed Mitchie tonight. Chris Gotti says bad loss, but not too mad about this one. Cavs haven't played since Sunday. Knicks played 3 and 4 nights on the second of a back-to-back, and we ran out of gas. I agree with a lot of that, Chris. Definitely tough schedule. Full strength Cleveland, and like I said, we're missing a lot of guys, but it's more than that. It's more than just we ran out of gas. I think our defensive schemes have to come correct in the playoffs, and that's going to be tough to see overturned. We haven't been a good team guarding the 3. Cleveland are a bad matchup, notoriously. But let's see, man. Let's see. If we do face Cleveland, it's more than likely going to be in the third round, man. We got Boston to worry about, most likely in the second round. And also, Chris says it's hard to win when it's 5v8. Absolutely. Johnny, salute. Yours truly. Blessing, salute to everyone in the chat joining us. I'm in Australia, Mo. I see Mo in the chat. Yep, I'm in Australia right now. Chris says he was getting cooked by Donovan and looked scared to shoot. it was a tough situation. When they overplay you, we needed to get the post ups, backdoor cuts. Ultimately, guys, we are at a bit of a disadvantage with rotations and talent tonight. Our bench with containing Shamit, Tyler Kolek, and Precious Achua, right? That's not a whole lot of scoring, and you're going to need a lot of scoring to beat a high-powered offense, Cleveland, and you have to do it on the defensive end. And Karl Anthony Towns anchoring the D, it just ain't it. Do the Knicks need to bring up Mo Brown on the final spot? That's a possibility. Huck Porty on the way back. But Mitchell Robinson right now has to play against these teams. And I'm glad they rested him tonight. I'm not going to say that, they should have played Mitch. I said it last night on the post game. Absolutely, I like the strategy to rest Cat last night, rest Mitch tonight. The playoffs are the big prize, man. We ain't gonna worry about the situation in the regular season. It's all about the playoffs, right? Teams have been daring Josh Hart to shoot a lot, and he's made some shots, but he just has to make the right play. Tibbs will always say the defense will tell you what to do. If they're overplaying you, then something else must open up. But we just continue to fumble. We lost our cool, man, in that third quarter. The Knicks are kings of losing double-digit leads. We lose it to bad teams. We lose double-digit leads to good teams. We just, is our play sustainable? That's my biggest worry. That is why, ultimately, I would like to see a new coach come in right now. But obviously, that's a conversation that's ongoing. We're going to see the playoffs as well. I'm not saying Tibbs is all bad. For the big-time Tibbs fans, Tibbs has brought a lot of good to the organization, but at points, you need to make an upgrade. And I feel like offensively, player-wise, we are limited in personnel at times, but we also are limited schematically right now. Right? How many times our offense look great and then it goes into a funk? Right? It's Groundhog's Day. When was the last time we sustained 48 minutes of just great, consistent play offensively? So I feel like things will change hopefully with a new coach offensively with a scheme. Defensively is where Tibbs hangs his hat on his defense right now, but it's disastrous second half with Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, let me get rid of this troll in the chat as well. I got nothing better to do than troll us when you ain't even a fan. Yeah, let me get this guy out of here. Yeah. Yeah, guys. AP salute. Mets Knicks salute. Tendrell salute. PH salute. Yeah, Tibbs getting out coached again. We had a 15-point lead. Yeah, it's not all on Tibbs, but bigger picture stuff. You know where I stand with Tibbs, and I feel like the Knicks can make that upgrade. But however, the roster's not perfect, man. The roster has a lot of limitations, fam. DeLon Wright and Hart, they made those guys shoot shots, and those guys had to hit shots. But without that, if we can't get stops on the other end, we give up the lead. It's simple as that. Teams just get downhill on us too quick. There was that one play that frustrated me because Karl Anthony Towns jogged back. He went for the straight line drive. He threw up a flail and didn't get the foul call, and then he jogged back, and it resulted in a dunk or an open three. And it's plays like that where it's going to kill you, man. It's going to kill you against these level teams. Now, one of the reasons why we're still so engaged and we're still so locked in for this playoff run is because the Knicks are better than 95% of the teams in the league. We've leveled up, we've upgraded to a point where we're better than most teams in the league, but we just can't beat. We're not better than Cleveland, Boston, and Oklahoma right now. Two things can be true at the same time. we're better than 95% of the other teams. It's just without our full strength squad, against Cleveland, I think we have the biggest chance. Let me say that. I think against Cleveland, like we saw for moments tonight, we definitely have the best chance out of any of those three elite teams. We can definitely beat Houston. We're beating them this year. We can beat Grizzlies. We're beating the Nuggets. We've swept the Nuggets. We can beat Indiana. We can beat Milwaukee. We can obviously beat Detroit. We can beat LA. But outside of them, man, it comes down to Oklahoma, Cleveland, and it comes down to Boston. And they're a 3-point threat. And all players can play make. They can play 5 out. They can get up and down. We like to play slow. We are a very one-dimensional team in terms of we play slow. Other teams can play fast and slow at times. And if we're not getting stops, then it's a slow walk the ball up the court and get into a rigid half-court set and just hope someone can make a tough shot. That's what it comes down to. I mean, we've got some talented ballers and they can make some tough shots. But at the end of the day, for 48 minutes, it's going to catch up to you. Asking these guys to make tough shot after tough shot. We credit to the cap Jalen Brunson and a lot of the other guys, but I think this read and react offense just ain't it. When the defense tightens the screws, we need a Kobe, we need a Brunson, you need an MJ to bail you out. It is what it is. I mean, it's a league where difficult shot makers thrive, but the easier you can make the shots, the better you'll do as a team, man. Mets Nick says, you're right, CT, teams with size can hurt us. Yep, that is a tough matchup. They can play small, they can play big. We kept their shooters, under control in the first half, but the second half, we didn't finish the game strong, man. Michael Drake says, one good half, terrible second. We lost our edge. Definitely, man. I feel like it's 50% players on the court, 50% coaching structure right now. PH says, in last night, the starters played over 35. Lonnie says, how did we let Cleveland get DeAndre? I would have traded Hart for Hunter. They weren't going to trade Hart, but in terms of your point, I blame ATL, fam. How did they let DeAndre Hunter, get to the Cleveland Cavaliers for just George Niang and Karis LeVert? But yeah, Hunter didn't really kill us tonight as much as the last game. AP says, if the Knicks win 50 games, is that an improvement from last year? I think you might have asked me that before, but I'll tell you in the playoffs. I'm really not focused on regular season wins, fam. I can't call this season a failure or a success yet because it's all about the playoffs. But are we a better regular season team than last year's team? I would say slightly because we've had injuries and we are on track to beat last year's record. I think the East is stronger than last season. The NBA is stronger as a whole. And we have swept the Nuggets this year. We've swept Miami. We've swept swept Memphis. I think this year's team, regular season, is slightly stronger than last season's team. But, it won't mean anything without the playoffs. But yeah, I'm frustrated with DeAndre Hunter, getting over to Cleveland as well. It's just made them so strong. Now, some big story, some big news come around the league. Obviously, Kevin Durant and that story in Phoenix set to be traded. But interesting news, a Shams bomb hit earlier today. Kevin Durant had interest in the Knicks, Timberwolves, Rockets, Spurs, and the Heat this past trade deadline, according to Shams Charania, right? But also, there's more. Shams lists Knicks with among teams with mutual interest in Hall of Famer Kevin Durant, right? So if the Knicks flame out of the playoffs, there will be an opportunity to put our hat in the ring for a potential Kevin Durant move. And look, I'm okay with it because no player should be off limits outside of Brunson, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You could think differently, but obviously we're trying to win a championship, and I love our guys. I'm not turning on any player. I just feel like if you can make an upgrade, you have to explore that possibility because you don't know when your window can open. You don't know how long it's going to stay open. It's been 50 years since the Knicks have won a championship, and it's just been far too long. It's been inexcusable. We're the biggest media market. We're one of the wealthiest franchises in the league, one of the original franchises in the league. It should not be 50 years until the Knicks win a championship. It's been far too long. And so if you can get a generational talent, you got to go for it, man. You got to go for it, man. We ain't here to just watch games for the sake of it. We're here to try to win. So let us know your thoughts. Also, earlier today, Carmelo Anthony, once a Knick, always a Knick, is first ballot Hall of Fame. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony. Maybe his number will be in the rafters at one point. I think that's more likely to happen now with James Dolan, now that he's a Hall of Famer. He's around the organization, holds many records, obviously, but nothing but congrats to Carmelo Anthony. Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, man. First ballot. Class of 2025 as well. So, obviously it was a mixed era with Melo, but individually, as a player, just super, super talented. Now, Scott King, the former Knicks assistant, has been named the G League Coach of the Season from the Austin Spurs. You guys might remember the face, the laptop dude. That's right. He has now moved on to new things, and he's won the G League Coaches of the Year. So, shout out to him. Obviously, he moved on, but obviously he got valuable experience with the New York Knicks. But yeah, that is tonight, guys. Let's look ahead. Saturday night against the Hawks. But OG Anunoby is playing incredible basketball. He was the best Knick tonight. We're not even in the game without his efforts in the first half. LB So Wavy says the coach on the Grizz getting fired may be suspect, but we have to pull the plug on Thibodeau just like that. So you're pro change up with the head coaching. Like PH says, CT, you're right, reading and reacting and nothing but ISO basketball. It ain't good all game, you're right. Yeah, it obviously can get advantages when your talent is a certain level, but I believe in a system where you shouldn't just rely on individual talent to bail you out. Greatness is obviously greatness, and you try to get as many Brunsons and as many KDs, as many players like that you can get. But obviously, system-wise, when you come up against other good teams, you might be elite, but you're facing an elite team. You have to be clever. You have to be smarter than them. You have to have better schemes, better systems, better adjustments, better execution. There's a lot to this game, rather than just shooting the basketball and setting guys up to succeed. And I'm really disappointed in our lack of consistency, right? I've said this before, but I think we are the worst good team that I've ever seen. In terms of our record, we are good against average and below average opponents. But against the elite, we just can't hang right now. I think it's fair to say that we can't hang. Now, there's some other caveats that you could talk about. No Mitch, no Brunson. But obviously, we've played Cleveland enough now. We've played Boston, and we've played Oklahoma. And we're a talented team, but we shouldn't be getting blown out by more than 20. That reeks of too much inconsistency, in my opinion, fam. I think Tibbs should have seen enough of Cleveland, enough of these other teams to make somewhat of an adjustment where, okay, you could pull out one win, maybe one win out of 10 of these games, but so far we haven't been able to do that. You know, we tried to take away what they like to do first half, but then they countered, they adjusted, and they killed us, man. But also with reading and reacting and that style of offense, guys, you need high IQ players, right? Sometimes you have a split but second to react and make the right call, make the right read. If your players aren't smart enough, aren't good enough to make those read and reacts, then you might have to change the system. You know, keep it simple. Run some set plays, double screens, get free guys up to get an easy look, especially when the offense is crumbling down the stretch. I mean, I watch so much NBA, and even some bad teams, I see them run some great sets. You know, one guy is hot, like Cam Thomas with Brooklyn. You know, they'll run a couple of double screens, get him a free look. You know, get some guys some easy looks from three. We run nothing, man. We run absolutely nothing. It's dribble, handoff, not enough pick and roll, not enough player movement. The ball movement is solid, but the players are really stagnant. You know, they're just kind of going nowhere. And it's rinse and repeat. What's up, David? Tough loss. I'm on the edge of giving up on Macau. 6 field goal attempts and the constant no-shows against good teams. I think, look, Macau gets a bad rap at times because he has to defend the opposing team's best player. But yeah, we've seen what Macau can do with more looks. Tonight, he didn't get as many shots up, but the system failed us tonight, in my opinion, more so than Macau. I mean, he still finished 3 of 6, was efficient. He just didn't get enough shots. 8 points. Cat was too dominant in the second half, but they were taking away a lot from Macau Bridges. Like I said, they were overplaying us defensively, and that's where you need to counter with, freeing guys up with some double screens, run some different sets, some backdoor action. We just weren't running enough of that, and also too many turnovers, guys. I mean, you're facing an elite team with a small window of opportunity, and you turn the ball over 14 times. Damn, I tweeted this out. Knicks' careless passing is genuinely infuriating. They pass up on the basic read to try a showtime pass too often. Take care of the ball. Right. That's 14 wasted possessions, man, against this team. Hart, Cat. I mean, I'm genuinely worried about a playoff series if we don't take care of the rock. You know? Too many nights we're having 14, 15, 16 turnovers, and it really is tough to win against elite teams with that situation. Now, we are obviously focused on some positives coming up, which is Jalen Brunson now. Rumors have it is set to return against either ATL or Phoenix on this weekend. Right, obviously we get 2 days rest now. We can take stock, regroup, dust ourselves off, and look at the road ahead now, fam. There is just, 6 games remaining, ladies and gentlemen. ATL, Phoenix, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland, and Brooklyn, right? I think we'll at least split the remaining 6 and get to 51 wins, maybe 52. It depends what Boston and Cleveland do. I could see us beating Cleveland at MSG. I don't think Cleveland have got anything to play for in that final game. I think we will probably try to use that, knowing Tom Thibodeau. He'll probably try to use that as a confidence building. Hey, look, we beat Cleveland in one of those games, fam. And maybe they'll go all out, hell for leather in that final penultimate game against Cleveland at MSG. Likewise, the Boston one at MSG. They might put the Q in the rack. They might rest Porzingis. They might rest one of their guards, one of their wings, and see if they can still beat us. But ATL Phoenix, those should be wins. I think there's no doubt you should win the next two. AP says outside of Brunson, you'd be okay with anyone else getting traded. I would agree. I think it's a business at the end of the day. But yeah, you obviously see how the playoffs go. If you can get yourself a Kevin Durant together with Brunson and Cat, I think you can obviously stockpile some other wings and see what you can do. It might make your window very small, and I probably wouldn't part with OG Anunoby in a Kevin Durant deal just because of the very small window. And obviously OG, you got a lot of road ahead. But man, it's going to be a tough call. But for Kevin Durant to have mutual interest, those that have just joined us, Kevin Durant, New York Knicks, among 5 teams that Kevin Durant had interest in the trade deadline. It's going to be a bumpy ride, man, this offseason. It's going to be insane. Shemu says Mikal has been very good when Mitch plays because he does not have to work as hard on D. I think what you're saying is, yeah, they complement each other a lot because, yeah, if Mikal gets beat, Mitchie's there to back up as well. But just in general, like, our defense is so much more assured without Karl Anthony Towns at the 5 and Mitchie there as well. Mitchie playing on an elite level. Johnny says yes to Melo Hall of Fame, no for the retired jersey number as well. I can understand that, definitely. I do feel like the standards have dropped slightly among, just in general, the NBA on retired numbers. You know, you see Vince Carter, you see Tony Allen in Memphis get his number retired. You see Dwight Howard get his number retired. You know, that's fair enough, that one. There's a few others that I'm missing out on as well, guys. But yeah, look, how are you feeling generally? How are you feeling for the playoffs now? Pistons, Bucks, it's still up in the air. I'm not really going to use tonight as a deflating loss because, you know, we are better than most teams. But like I said, it's just frustrating. Can we win a series against a Cleveland, a Boston, or an Oklahoma if we get that far? Well, obviously, if we get to the finals and face Oklahoma, we'll have had a historic run and we'll probably be, you know, confident enough. But outside of those, that team, the 2 teams out east, Boston and Cleveland, is going to be tough. But tonight was the best half we have played against these Eastern Conference teams. We had a good third quarter against Boston, and tonight was probably our worst third quarter against Cleveland, fam. We ruined a double-digit lead and an amazing first half from OG Anunoby. This is a great point too. PH says, they said on our backcourt we would have been too small with Donovan and Jalen, but look at the Cavs with Garland and Donovan as well. Yeah, that's good coaching, man. Good coaching elevates players, overcoming shortcomings, you know. Like I said, they were played tenacious defense. You know, Donovan Mitchell was exerting so much energy defensively to make sure that they weren't put at a disadvantage. You know, hard work and work ethic, you can overcome deficiencies. But like I said, the referees were really bad. They should have actually called Donovan Mitchell for a couple more fouls because basically we're in a situation where Donovan Mitchell knows that if he gets below the 3-point line, it's barbecue chicken. So he was playing up on Mikal Bridges. And if your handle isn't tight enough to overcome these small guards, you're going to get stripped. And that's why Cat struggles with those straight line drives. You know, he gets his pocket picked. Hart on those drives will get his pocket picked. Mikal Bridges doesn't have a tight enough handle. He gets his pocket picked. And so, the scheme worked for Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell. You know, they were getting their hands in the cookie jar, all of the things that Oklahoma would like to do as well. And ultimately, it just might be a talent thing, man. We have to be better at creating and getting off the dribble. Pull up threes off the dribble. The swing skill set that'll win you the championship, in my opinion. So many players in the league can stand in a corner, catch it, and shoot it if they're wide open. But the skill set that separates the elite from the rest of the pack is if pull up threes off the dribble, right? Mikal Bridges is not great above the break, pulling up off the dribble. He was just so hesitant. OG Anunoby's got better, but Hart can't do it. Delon Wright, not 3-point shooters that you need to respect. Karl Anthony Towns, not great either. He's catch and shoot great, but not pulling up off the dribble. And on the flip side, Garland is an expert, and Donovan Mitchell can do it as well in his sleep. And it's just so tough to guard, at the end of the day, man. It's a simple game. And sometimes so many people overcomplicate things, man. Sometimes it just comes down to you're good, but you're not good enough. The other coach is better than your coach. And at the end of the day, it's 5v5 on the court. And they highlight your weaknesses and they try to take away your strengths. And you try to take away their strengths and you have to try to highlight their weaknesses. Right now, Cleveland don't have a whole lot of weaknesses. You've got to play close to a perfect game. You got to play close to a perfect game. Miami beat Boston tonight, Tendrell. We're going to see some crazy results towards this end of the season. And I think, teams also gas out a little bit as well. Gearing up for the playoffs. I think Boston's playing mind games right now. They probably don't want to go into the off-season, to the postseason undefeated. They want to maybe take a loss, use that to psych themselves up. Johnny says, CT, the Knicks lost focus in the second after a stupendous first half. Is that on Tibbs or a Knicks team fail? It's on a bit of everything. I feel like Cleveland increased their defensive tenacity, and that's what good teams do. And no doubt Kenny Atkinson would have said, look, they got too hot from three and get up in their grill. And that's exactly what they did. But we failed to adjust. So that's also on Tibbs and also on them. But I really feel like it's a personnel gap right now. I mean, like I said, Johnny, they've got pull-up threats off the dribble. And we had to basically string together 15 passes just to get a guy an open look. We have to work very laboriously to get a good shot. And look, if it pays off, it pays off. But at the end of the day, the other team can get a good look 3 seconds into the shot clock. And we have to use 18 seconds of a shot clock just to get the look that we end up with. And so at the end of the day, you add that up over 48 minutes and the better team's always going to win. That's why I love this game, because it's different to, let's say, it's different to football sometimes. It's different to soccer, where sometimes you can play more pragmatic and win with a low scoring tally. But in basketball, you ain't got a hope, of winning, being pragmatic. Now, you have to be, a hot shooting team. You have to be great offensively. Otherwise, you ain't just going to hang for the 48 minutes. David also says, I'm not confident in the mental toughness of Cat and Bridges. They should have had good games. Only OG and Hart showed in this one. I think the game has momentum swings, and certainly poor decision making especially from Cat does swing games. Unfortunately, not in our favor. And he's a momentum kind of guy. He's streaky with the deep three. And we just get too lazy, throwing the ball around out of bounds, not running the sets properly, not working hard enough to set good screens to free guys up. I mean, it's top to bottom, man. But yeah, mentally, there are question marks. Yeah, absolutely. You need guys like a Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs. That's why he's had playoff success, and that's why we will have success with Jalen Brunson. We just got to get more guys around him. And look, OG has been phenomenal. The jury is still out with Mikal Bridges. There's going to be some buzz in the off season. Um, Hart, I think, eventually has to come off the bench. I would like Josh Hart to be here. I would like Josh Hart to stay and be a part of the future championship team. But I don't see it happening if Hart is a starter as well. I'll double down on that. I don't think the Knicks win a championship with Josh Hart as a starter. I feel like coming off the bench, that's fine. Playing 20, 25, 30 minutes off the bench, cool, no problem. But in this modern NBA, you need maximum spacing, and they continue to cheat off of Josh Hart. He looks side to side, he hesitates, 5 seconds have gone off the clock, then he either throws a grenade, a shot clock heave, or he throws the ball out of bounds, and then on a rare occasion, he hits the shot. Over the course of 16-game series, over the playoffs, that's going to hurt you, And look, you don't have to be Einstein to work out, I think the Knicks are going to have to make additions to the starting unit, and ideally, Hart coming off our bench, fam. Lonnie says, how many times do we say that we failed to adjust? That's on the coach. It's also his system, right? He doesn't adjust because he just believes in the same system. The system is read and react, right? Read what they're doing and react to it. But the players have deficiencies in their game as well. But the read and react system is streaky, Sometimes you read and react the right way and you make the right pass and you make the right, bucket. But to do that for 48 minutes, you need high IQ and you need, you need the talent to still do that. Whereas I feel like a more rigid structure and system to the offense could highlight the strengths of our players more and give us a better chance at winning. Like more Karl Anthony Towns post ups, less of this action at the top of the three. Get Josh Hart in the corner where he can at least be a threat shooting the corner three, not above the break, where teams just sag off. You know what I mean? And then obviously we have to set better screens, free guys up. I tweeted this out last night, man. It frustrates me to see it with Boston, but let me find it. Let me bring it up. It wasn't last night. It was a few days earlier about Boston and their screen setting. Because it's so frustrating to see those guys set those screens. Meanwhile, we just allow it. Basically, Al Horford is the king at splitting his legs and getting those illegal screens set. But it frees dudes up. It frees guys up for the easy bucket. And the refs just aren't calling it. But with our screen setting, I mean, it leaves a lot to be desired, fam. It leaves a lot to be desired. I think might be on my main profile in this one. Okay, there we go. There we go. Take a look at this. I'll bring this up on the bigger screen. So this is the Boston Celtics game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, what stands out to you here, man? As I said, at what point do we start penalizing these illegal screens set by Horford and Boston? Right? They're not legal screens, So basically Horford moves as well, but is that a natural screen setting motion? I mean, look how far apart the guy's legs are. Do we see OG, Cat? Do we see Mitchell Robinson set screens like that? The truth is we don't. we don't see our guys set screens like that. That's going to free up a shooter, and that's going to guarantee that he can get around the screen with an easy shot. But that is an illegal screen, but it's not getting called right now. Another one, basically you could see the two, that's just a small snippet from one ball game, and he does it over and over and over again. Every possession, Al Horford is moving and he's pushing the guy away, basically like he's in the NFL. And he's also, Coronet's doing it. Guys like Jarrett Allen is a king at doing it as well. And look how far apart the guy's legs are set. He's basically screening the dude while moving, and it frees the guys up. And we're not doing that. You know, it's a game of fine margins, and we're not doing that. I think Oklahoma AP are the favorites. Yeah, I think Isaiah Hartenstein might end up with the chip this year. Stefan says JB will be back. We'll be fine. We'll definitely be better. We're, like I said, we're better than 95% of the league. We just have to be better than the very few teams ahead of us right now. You have to go through them to win a chip. I don't know why they don't call them, Michael. I just don't know why the refs don't call those screens. It's so easy to see. It's simple, and it kind of frustrates me because I feel like the league is rigged. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm not no conspiracy theorist, but look at that second one from Horford on the right. If you believe Karl Anthony Towns sets a screen like that and doesn't get called, then, I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised because Boston keep getting away with it. Cleveland get away with it. And meanwhile, Cat gets a foul called against him, even if he just touches a dude. It's just the way it is, man. These officials, they support teams. They have a personal life. I think they do have a bias. I ain't gonna lie. I think this league, obviously, James Dolan has had some issues with the NBA as well. And the NBA is it's a bad officiated product right now. And they killed the game today. Also, personnel issues. Lonnie, Precious Hart on the floor at the same time with no offense. That's it, my friend. You said it. Can you win a championship with too many non-spacers out there? Tibbs running lineups like it's 1990, like it's 1999 even. It's just tough, man. It's a three-point shooting league. In Cleveland, it just got elite shooters off the bounce. I feel like our ceiling obviously changes and our window opens if you take Josh Hart, out of that starting unit, and you got Bridges at the 3, and you've got a real shooting guard, just an example, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway. Take your pick. A shooting guard that is a real shooter that knocks down threes off the bounce. And basically you add that together with Brunson, Bridges, OG, and the 5. I think that gives us a much, much better chance. Now, Hart's rebounding, playmaking, and all of that is great. But at the end of the day, man, offensively, you're challenged. It could be 4-on-5 in some possessions. Now, if he's knocking down the open shot constantly, that'll change everything. But at the end of the day, Hart just doesn't knock down those open shots, enough. And that's why the scouting report, keeps showing that. So yeah, I'm not surprised, Cleveland made that run. Offensively, limited with structure and with personnel. Defensively, we have to turn into basically the 90s, 90s Knicks. And that's our best chance, I feel, to win a series. We have to be physical. We have to guard the three and turn the water off and turn it into a 90s style game. That's our best chance, I think, at beating one of these elite teams, fam. Let us know if you agree. Let us know how you feel like is the best chance that the Knicks can win one of these a series against one of these elite teams, because we're pretty far off right now, guys. We don't just struggle to win one game against these kind of teams. Think about it. You got to win 4 games against one of these teams right now. I'm glad we're going to get a favorable matchup in the first series, most likely Milwaukee. Still possibly it could be Detroit, which I think we would still be favorites, but that would be a tougher series. But the second round should be as far as we go, I think, this season, man. Barring some kind of huge change, it's going to be very fascinating to see how it plays out. Is Tibbs going to throw in any adjustments? Is he just going to shorten that rotation and take Precious out? Is he going to take Shamet out and just play Deuce, Campaign, and Mitch off the bench? He could do that. Obviously, Shamet's been shooting the basketball well, but you see tonight, obviously he's not the solution. Precious sure as hell ain't the solution. If you play more starters and you play Payne, Deuce, and Mitch, you might be able to get by and fight in one of these series against Cleveland or Boston, man, and maybe get a couple of wins. But yeah, I don't feel like Karl Anthony Towns at the 5 is going to be effective for us this season. Mitch has to play more minutes than 20 minutes, hopefully 30 come playoff time minimum. There's no back-to-backs. You get a day off afterwards as well. Michael says this will be Tibbs last year if he doesn't get the Knicks past the second round. I don't know for sure, but I feel like he should be moved on if we don't get past the first round. If we don't get past the second round, it'll depend on how that second round goes, Do we get badly outplayed? Do we get waxed? It's up to Leon right now. And you agree with the officials. The referees in the league been biased for so long. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Tendrell, our pick and roll defense has to get better. Definitely. I feel like Deuce McBride is our best player, so we did miss him tonight. And I feel like the Knicks probably had a chance to win without Brunson, with Brunson and with Deuce. And you definitely throw Mitchie in there as well. OG was great, but Karl Anthony Towns was frustrating. I mean, I can't really elaborate any more than that, man. Cat was frustrating. He allows the focus and he allows the frustration to creep in. Too many ill-advised shots in traffic. And we're also not working to get good enough looks for him down low in the post or, get him a wide open 3 above the break. It's just a hard-fought offense right now. DeLon Wright got open a few times. I feel like he has to be a little bit more aggressive at the floater or getting to the rack, get fouled, because he turns the corner and sometimes he gets an advantage, DeLon Wright, but then he passes it back out or he passes it up. And you just can't do that with this offense, fam. So I'd like to see DeLon Wright be a little bit more aggressive, but don't look now. Jalen Brunson is set to return, and it does sound like Deuce McBride and Campaign are very, very close, according to the Knicks reporters. And so 2 days rest, then ATL. I won't be surprised if Deuce or Campaign is back for that one. And I think that could be the end of the ride for DeLon Wright. I think he deserves minutes based on what I've seen. I would be fine with Wright taking campaigns minutes, but I do think Tibbs is going to go back. I think he's going to go back to Deuce and Cam, and he's going to give them that chance again, because that's how it's been all season. AP, what is Leon Rose going to do? I think there will be changes, in personnel. He'll probably look to upgrade the roster and the depth first. But if the playoffs don't go well for Tibbs, then he might make a change. I don't know. I can't say how. I really, no one's got a read on how much pressure Tibbs is under right now. I mean, it's been a pretty successful regular season in terms of wins and losses. But if you want to measure yourself against the elite teams, it's been a complete failure. Failing to win against Cleveland, Boston, OKC, losing the season series to Detroit as well. And I'm going to be honest with you, if we face Detroit in a playoff series, it's probably going to be at least 6 games. It would be a hard-fought series. And so, you've got to be better than those teams to win a chip, ultimately. Now, this isn't make or break this year. We have, obviously, guys under contract. The Knicks have got opportunities to improve the roster and build around this talent. But who knows, man, if and when that window is going to stay open right now. Boston might have to make some changes. Obviously, that is key. But Kevin Durant is the biggest name that is going to be available, ladies and gentlemen. And there is mutual interest between the Knicks and Kevin Durant and his camp. Obviously, we know his agent, Rich Kleiman, is a Knicks fan as well. He spurned the Knicks last time, but things seem to be a little bit different now. He has mutual interest in the New York Knicks. I don't know what Leon Rose could do, who he could offer up, but I do think it'd be realistic to think that a Mikal Bridges would be in that deal. Phoenix know him, but would Phoenix be looking for draft picks mostly? If they are going to get rid of KD, maybe they want to keep Booker. Maybe Mikal Bridges keeps him satisfied. They can build around them. Maybe they're looking for draft picks, though. So that could be interesting. I wouldn't overpay. I would inquire, see what it costs. If it's reasonable, you look into it. But outside of that, man, let's see how this playoffs play out, guys. We've got 6 more remaining. I think we'll win the next 2, ATL Phoenix, and then who knows what happens with the Boston, Detroit, Cleveland, Brooklyn game, because there might be some resting going down. And yeah, we don't have much picks, AP. We might need to trade Bridges, recoup some of those picks. They might have to trade a Deuce McBride to upgrade the starting 5, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying they might have to in terms of currency. To me, my preference is to strengthen the starting 5, right? The bench is still a problem, but if you're to win a championship, your starting 5 is the top order of business, right? You have to make sure that your starting 5 is good enough to win the chip. And ultimately, right now, man, we're unable to contain these teams defensively. Karl Anthony Towns shouldn't be the starting 5, should be the starting 4. OG should be moved to the 3. Mikal maybe moved to the 2. And we see what plays out. Man, it's going to be interesting, definitely. But OG Anunoby, his stock, his currency around the league is going up. So that is a good sign. He's under contract for 4 more seasons. He's probably our most, outside of Brunson and Cat, probably above Cat. In fact, he's probably the higher trade asset in terms of anyone not named Jalen Brunson. Not saying they would move him. I'm just saying in terms of currency. Karl Anthony Towns, who knows what kind of value he has around the league with his salary and his contract playing up. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We wrap this thing up. Thanks for hanging with us. Salute to Replay Squad. The Knicks 20 games above 500, better than 95% of the league. That is the story, but unable to beat the better 5%. Sometimes you're good, but just not good enough. And something has to change for us to be able to beat the top 5 teams in the league, whether that's structure, new players that are better coach, but something has to change. It's not as simple as just double down and execute better. I believe there's more fundamental flaws. Like I said, I don't believe Josh Hart could be a starter on a championship team now. He's too much of a liability offensively, and teams will take that away. Teams will accentuate that. I love Hart, man. He embodies what it is to be a Knick. He gets it, and he plays hard, and I would keep him around, but coming off the bench. Mikal Bridges, that spot can be upgraded, no doubt about it. Get a guy next to Cat, bring in Brunson back, together with OG, and see what that looks like. But man, strap yourself in, because it's going to be buzzing. The playoffs are coming, 6 games left, and the Knicks will get a bit of a rest as well. Hopefully Deuce McBride back in the next one together with Campaign. And obviously we might be getting the Cap back as well on the weekend. Who else are we missing? Campaign and Mitch, obviously, as well. Our 4 main guys. Let's see how it plays out in that one. But yeah, frustrating finish. I really wanted to beat Cleveland. I was feeling good at halftime. I just thought we needed to play a better third quarter to stay in it. But unfortunately, man, they just killed us. They killed us in that second half. And it was another embarrassing double-digit loss. And players in the minus tonight. But yeah, Knicks ride or die, orange and blue skies. Let's get going for the playoffs. Win the first round series. Get confidence, and we'll see how things play out. But yeah, everyone in the building, appreciate you. Blessings, big up, and let's get it on Saturday night against the Hawks and Trae Young when he comes back into MSG. Actually, no. Yes, it is. No, it's on the road. Excuse me. ATL is on the road. And then Phoenix back at MSG. We'll be there. We'll be fired up. And I'll see you then. Peace.